So justice has definitely been served today.
Now at 6, wrongly convicted. He spent more than 20 years behind bars, convicted of murder. Why tonight, he's a free man.
And Johnathan Fleming claimed that there was no way he was anywhere near the murder scene.
And almost a quarter of a century later, prosecutors believe his story. CBS 2's Lou Young has the story and the emotional family reunion.
Yeah, this was a remarkable reversal of fortune. 24 years in prison and a reversal of the conviction here at the Brooklyn courthouse. That courthouse behind me became a scene of joyous celebration today. Take a look. 51-year-old Johnathan Fleming hugged his attorneys as the judge ended his 24-year-long ordeal. Jailed for a murder the Brooklyn DA's office now says he could not have committed. He was freed. He rushed to embrace one of his grown sons for the first time as a free man. In the morning, he wore handcuffs and restraints for the trip from upstate. He now faces freedom without apparent bitterness. The father of 4 and grandfather now was convicted in 1990 on the word of a single witness trying to get out from under criminal charges.
I'm doing okay. It's been a long time coming. I waited for this day to come, 24 and a half years, for this nightmare to be over. And this day is finally here. I dreamt about this many nights, and I'm finally a free man.
Freedom.
Juice, juice, I got the juice. I got the juice.
Back at you guys with another episode of The Couch. Who Got the Juice TV. Today we have a special guest, Mr. John Fleming. What's going on, boss man? How you doing?
Good, my brother. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Nah, thank you for coming. I know a lot of people are going to be excited to hear about this story of yours. Let's get a brief background on you. Where are you originally from?
I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, Marcy Projects. You know, blessing to be here. I'm going to preside in Raleigh, North Carolina now.
Okay. How you like it down here?
Oh, I love it. I love it. I have business down here, and the people are great. You know what I'm saying? So, it's a big change. From being from New York, where everything is always loud, but it's a little bit slower. But I couldn't have picked a better place. Raleigh is a beautiful place. This is my home now, and I definitely love it down here. I'm always be from New York, but this is my home now. This is where I rest at. Even being into a lot of these spots that I go to when I do go out and everything. One of the big things is that after 2 o'clock you can't even get a drink out here. You know what I'm saying? Out in in New York you could drink up until the spot closed and everything. So there's no limits on that. So it's a lot of things real different.
All right, so let's jump into it. Exonerated Fleming. First off, congrats on being exonerated, man.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you.
I think that it's really a blessing that you were able to get your life back after being wrongfully convicted. But let's touch on that.
1989, I was accused of a murder that I didn't commit. I had that time during the crack epidemic era in 1987. I got involved in crack cocaine, and I had a couple of spots out there, people working for me and stuff. And in '89. I took my family on a vacation in Orlando, Florida. It was me, my mother, my girlfriend at the time, and my kids. And while I was in Florida, a friend of mine got killed. I had airplane tickets, I had hotel receipts, I had phone records, and I had videotape to prove my innocence. Unfortunately, that wasn't enough. The district attorney, they went, and they had got this one young lady. She was an interested witness. She got arrested in a stolen van. She had outstanding warrants and she was on probation. They went to her. They asked her, did she see anything, about this murder that took place? Due to the fact she got arrested in a stolen van, they told her if you cooperate, you won't get arrested for the stolen van. So she made up a lie. She told them that she seen me kill my friend. She told them that she seen me kill him, get in the car, and leave the scene of the crime. What she did see, yes, she did see my car, but she never seen me. I went to trial, and I was convicted of this crime that I had absolutely nothing to do with. If you really want me to get that deep into the story and you just want me to flow and tell the story, I have no problem doing that.
Please.
So I could let you know exactly what happened. When I got arrested for this crime, I had returned from Florida. And 2 days later, the police, they actually came up to me and they asked me, where was I on a certain date? And I told them where I was. They didn't believe me. They threw me on the ground. They arrested me. They took me to the precinct. When they took me to the precinct, I told them exactly where I was at. I told them I was in Orlando, Florida on August the 12th, till August the 17th. I told them I was in Orlando, Florida with my family, at which time they didn't want to believe nothing I had to say. This young lady came to an actual identification hearing, and she came to the precinct and she pointed me out. They arrested me. And during that time when I got arrested, I told them that I wanted to go to the grand jury. I told them that I wanted to go to the grand jury and my family would be my alibi because I was with my family. They took me to court 3 days later to go in front of the grand jury, at which time I was waiting to go see the grand jury. I didn't even have an attorney at the time. The courts appointed me an attorney. I never seen this attorney. I never spoke to him whatsoever. And this attorney sent another attorney in his place to go to the grand jury. And this attorney never even came to the back and told me, I'm here to represent you for your attorney that was appointed to you. This attorney took it upon himself and he went to the grand jury and he waived my rights. At which time I never had an opportunity to testify in front of the grand jury. I got indicted. And when I got indicted, they took me back to court. And at that time, I hired a private attorney. When I hired that private attorney, I told that private attorney that I wanted to go to the grand jury because I didn't have that opportunity, which was my right. You have a right to go to the grand jury, just like you have a right to a trial by jury. They put in a motion to have the indictment dismissed. The judge refused to, set the indictment aside. Because of that, my case went to trial. And when it was time for my case to go to trial, basically they took me to trial. When I went to trial, the same young lady that said that I did the murder, she was trying to recant her testimony. She told them that she didn't want to go through with her story because the story that she gave at the grand jury 10 months prior was not the truth. At which time they didn't want to believe her. So the judge told her that if she didn't get on the stand and testify to what I said, if she changed her story, that she can go to jail for perjury if she tried to change her story. She told the judge that I didn't do it. But at that time, they took her to the holding pens, and the district attorney had their people question her. The district attorney officers, they actually questioned her, and when they questioned her, she told them that she didn't want to go through with the nightmare. But at this time, she was pregnant, and she didn't want to have a baby in jail. So she went forward with the lie. She went to my trial, and she testified, and she said that she seen me kill my friend. The district attorney also had 2 other witnesses. They had a witness that put me in New York 5 minutes before the murder. He said that I asked him, did he see the guy, Black, who actually had got killed? He said that he told me no, and he said that I showed him a gun, and I told him, if you see Black, tell him I got something for him. They also had another witness. She came to court, and she put me in New York 4 hours before the murder, looking for a gun. She had got arrested by the same precinct that I got arrested by. What I didn't know, the guy who they said that I questioned, he had got arrested by the same precinct as well that I got arrested by. Well, he got arrested by the same precinct as me 6 months after the murder, so he was an interested witness. When I went to trial, I would like to point out Jacqueline Bellardo, the young lady who said I did the murder, she came to court and she said I did the murder. They also had this guy, Anthony Davis. What he stated was that I asked him for the gun 5 minutes before the murder. He didn't want to go to trial. When the trial date came, he ran off and he came back. And when he came back, they actually apprehended him and they put him in custody, and he took the stand and he lied on me. And he said that I actually showed him the gun. They believed their story. I went to trial. The jury actually found me guilty. When the jury found me guilty, I was supposed to get sentenced 30 days later. The young lady who said that I actually did the murder, she actually came back forward. My mother seen her and told her that I know my son didn't do this murder. And I just would like to know why you would actually say that my son did this murder, because I know my son didn't do it because he was in Orlando, Florida with me, because my mother was with me. This young lady broke down crying, and she told my mother that she got arrested in a stolen van and she didn't want to have her baby in jail, and they threatened her with jail. And she said that she couldn't live with this nightmare knowing that she sent me to jail. At that time, my mother asked her, would you be willing to talk to his lawyers and tell his lawyers the truth. She agreed to do so. She went to my lawyer and she told my lawyer that I didn't see Johnathan kill nobody. And I just want to do right and do the right thing. This young lady gave up an affidavit, a sworn affidavit stating that her trial testimony was false, that she did not see me kill nobody, and she's here today to tell the truth. They gave me a hearing. On my sentence date, I was supposed to go get sentenced, but they postponed my sentence. So they actually gave me a hearing based on her recantation. This lady got on the stand and she told the trial judge that she did not see me kill nobody. She told the trial judge that I did not kill nobody, and she told him that her trial testimony was false. And she also told them the reason she gave up the false testimony because she had got arrested in this stolen van and she had outstanding warrants. And that was the deal she made with them. At that time, I thought I was going home. I knew my conviction would be overturned. When I went back to court a week later on my sentence date, the judge refused. He denied to set my verdict aside, and the judge sentenced me to 25 years to life. At that time, I went upstate, and I was sentenced to 25 years to life. I wrote the district attorney every single year, telling them that you have an innocent man in jail, and all I'm asking is that you investigate my case. Not once did I ever get a response back from the DA's office to just letting me know that we've seen your letter and we will investigate this situation and we'll get back to you. Not one time. In 2013, at this time I had like 24 years incarcerated in prison. And my son lost his mother to a tragic accident. And my son gave me $50,000 in 2013. And I hired 2 investigators. These 2 investigators investigated my case, and they came across a police report which implicated a cousin of mine having my car. My investigators went to South Carolina and they interviewed my cousin. After 4 hours in November 2013, my cousin told them the truth. He told them that Johnathan Fleming had nothing to do with the murder. He told them the name of the person who did the murder, and he also admitted to driving the getaway car from the scene of the crime. That was enough for them to start opening up my case and start investigating. 4 days after my cousin testified to that, I was called down to the district attorney's office. When I was called down to the district attorney's office, they sat me down with my lawyers and with my investigators, and the district attorneys who was investigating the case at the time, not the district attorney that actually convicted me, but they had an investigative district attorney that was looking into my case. She walked up in the room, she had a folder, and she opened up the folder because they started investigating my case when this statement was given up by my cousin. When she walked up in there, she opened up her folder and she passed me over a piece of paper. She asked me, "Mr. Fleming, do you know what this is?" I said, "No." She said, "This is a phone receipt showing that you paid your phone bill in Florida 3 hours before the murder." She also had a letter. The letter that she pushed over to me was a letter from the detectives in Orlando, Florida. What happened was when I got arrested and I told the detectives in New York City that I was in Florida with my family, they notified the detectives in Orlando, Florida and told them we have a guy named Johnathan Fleming who's stating that he was in your state of Florida and we want you to investigate it. He told us what hotel he was in. He told us who he was with, and we want you to investigate that. These detectives in Orlando, Florida did investigate that. And the result of the investigation was 2 employees in the hotel in Orlando, Florida. They remembered seeing me, and they gave a statement to these detectives and told them, "We remember seeing this man because he was wearing flashy jewelry. He had, he was wearing flashy clothes, well dressed." And they gave up a statement, and they sent that statement to the detectives in New York City. That was the letter that the investigators gave me at this hearing when I was talking to the DA in New York City. This information was never turned over to my defense team. And that day when they called me down there and I spoke with them, they told me they was going to investigate the phone receipt and they was going to investigate the letter, which at that time they sent me back upstate. And that was in November 2013. I thought I was going to go home at that time, but I didn't. Christmas came, I was still in prison. New Year's came, I was still in prison. And I'll never forget, I used to call my lawyers all the time, every day, and ask them, why am I still in prison with all of this evidence? When my cousin gave you the name of the guy that did it. But I never forget, April 7th, I got a call from the officers. They called me from the yard. I was working out, and they told me, they said, take it back to your cell. I went to my cell, and they came and they gave me a bag, a draft bag to pack up. And they told me to just pack up. I said, where am I going? They said, we don't know. We just got a call to tell you to pack up. About an hour later, my counselor came to my cell, and my counselor put her hand through the bars, and she told me, she said, Johnathan, we just got a call from your investigators. They called us and told us, you're going in front of the judge tomorrow, April 8th, 2014, that was. And you're going to be going in front of a judge, and your case is going to be dismissed. That was one of the happiest days of my life, man.
I was just about to ask you, I know you probably can't describe it, but if you could, how did that feel? Because at that time you spent so many of your years behind bars. The light at the tunnel was so close.
Right.
What was that feeling like?
Well, I can tell you this. When I got sentenced, when I got convicted, I didn't cry. When I got convicted, I didn't cry. And when I got sentenced, I didn't cry. When my counselor came to my cell and told me that I was going in front of a judge tomorrow, and my case will be dismissed, I broke down and I cried. So you just imagine what type of feeling that could be. That's what made me cry, because I knew that the nightmare was over. Because I suffered for a long time. 24 years, 7 months, and 20 days in prison for a crime that I had absolutely nothing to do with. And I knew that I was going to go home one day. But I just never thought it would take that long. I never thought it would take that long for me to get out of prison. But, you know, here I am today, and I must say, God is good. Because I know the life that I lived back then, and I sit around and think about the life that I have now. So, you know, a lot of people, they always ask me, you know, why I'm not angry. I have nothing to be angry about. I was a drug dealer in the 80s. You know, I no longer sell drugs. You know, and I believe that it was my blessing from God by me going to prison. Because if I didn't go to prison, I probably would have got killed. Or I probably would have went to prison, who knows, maybe for killing somebody. And I never killed nobody. But I know for a fact, God saved me, because 3 weeks before I went to prison, some guys tried to kill me. Some guys tried to rob me. Luckily, I seen them coming, and I started running, and they were shooting at me. And 3 weeks later, I went to prison. So I truly believe me going to prison was a blessing, and God delivered me when he felt that I was ready to be released. Because if I would have went to prison for 2-3 years, I would have came back out and I would have been doing the same thing. I would have sold drugs, because that's all I knew. So, you know, I know everything that happened for a reason, and God delivered me when he felt that he was ready. And here I am today.
So present day now, John Fleming, free. Now looking at the past, focusing on the future. I see that you started a foundation for wrongfully convicted people. Let's talk about that foundation.
Yes, I have a foundation called the Johnathan Fleming Foundation. And basically it's just to try to help other people that's in a situation as myself, because nobody want to listen. You know, you could tell people that you innocent all day, but there's nobody to help you. Like I said, for 24 years, I wrote the district attorney and told them that I was innocent, that I had nothing to do with this murder, and nobody would take my case. I wrote district attorneys all the time. Nobody would acknowledge my letter. I wrote lawyers. I wrote thousands of lawyers. I used to sit down and they have a thing where you get 5 free legal mails a week. I would literally go through the book, the lawyer's diary, from their last name, from A going all the way through. And I would write a letter I had put together. It was the same letter for every lawyer requesting some legal assistance and letting them know if anybody would just take my case, if you would just look at my case, when you get me out and prove my innocence, I would let you represent me on my lawsuit. No lawyer would take my letter. No lawyer would take my case, excuse me. No lawyer would take my case. It was always an excuse. You already been convicted. We don't see what we could do to help you. Stuff like that there. Nobody didn't want to touch my case. And I would send out 20 letters a month. So we talking 5 months. We talking, that's 100 letters that would go out. That would be 100 different lawyers. Nobody would take my case. So it's very important. It was very important to me that I start this foundation to try to open up, make a way for other people that's innocent like myself that don't have money. Because at the end of the day, if my son didn't come into the money that he came into, I'd probably be still in jail right now today. It took my son to lose his mother to a tragic accident. My son lost his mother to a tragic accident to give me $50,000 to get my case investigated. And what I would like to say is that even with the money that my son gave me, that money ran out in a matter of 5 months. These investigators investigated my case for another 7 months free. But what they did do, they billed me because they believed in my innocence after the first 4 months of investigating my case. So the last 7 months of investigating my case, they worked it for free. And their thing was, we're going to bill you. And when we prove you're innocent, you just pay us what you owe us. And that's what I did. No lawyer wouldn't step up and do that for me. But when I got out and I got compensated, they was like ambulance chasers. Every lawyer, I'm talking about numerous of lawyers that I wrote and asked them to represent me, was contacting my lawyers trying to represent me on my lawsuit. And I had refused to let them do that. So it's very important when it comes to this foundation, because all I want to do is raise money for people that's in a situation like myself. So when they reach out to the Johnathan Fleming Foundation and they say that they're innocent, that at least the money will be there so I could maybe send lawyers to go look at these people just to review their case. If that's what it takes, just sending money just to review their case, I just want this foundation to be able to be a part of that. Because once lawyers look at it and they review stuff, then they'll make see like, oh, wow, hold up. Maybe this guy is innocent. You understand? It'll be one of them things. Maybe this guy is innocent. You understand? So that's what it's about. It's about me just helping people. Because what happened to me can happen to other people. Especially if you don't have no money. So what it was like a learning lesson. It showed me, that money, that justice is the color of green. Because if my son didn't come into the money that he came into, I'd probably be in prison right now today. I was 8 days away from going to my first parole board. I was sentenced to 25 years to life. I was 8 days away from going to my first parole board. And I had refused to go to the parole board because I wasn't going to go to the parole board and show remorse for a crime that I didn't commit. That was one of the promises that I made to my mother. She told me, if I'm dead and gone, don't go to the parole board and, admit to something that you didn't do just to get out. She said, don't accept time served for a crime that you didn't do also. Because it's easy, once they see that they wrong, it's easy for them to come and say, okay, we'll give you time served so you don't sue. No, I suffered. And what they gave me, is that enough? It's no amount of money that's enough that you can give me to justify for all the time that I did in prison. And it was deliberately. It wasn't like, something I should know. It was done deliberately by the precinct. It was done deliberately by the precinct. The district attorney's office just really did their job because the evidence was presented to them. But if the evidence is presented to them, they're going to go up. That's what they did, and they built their case. But the thing is, if all the evidence would have been turned over to them, there's no way the district attorney would even consider taking my case to trial. They withheld that evidence. The police department.
They pick and chose what they wanted to present.
There you go. If that phone receipt and that letter from the detectives in Orlando, Florida was presented to the district attorney, they would have never trialed me because they would have knew there was no way in hell that they could have got a conviction with everything that I had. So they knew what they was doing. So these district attorneys, what they do, they want a conviction by anything necessary because it'll help them, it'll help their career to get higher up. So that's what happened. And the same district attorney that did this to me, that convicted me, he only did his job. It really started from the detectives. But you know, he wound up losing his job, not because of what happened with me, but I think it was probably on his conscience what happened, because right after I got exonerated, they found him drunk one day. He supposed to have been doing a closing summation on another homicide, and they found him drunk in a hotel, and my name came up in an article on that because they thought that it may have something to do with my case. The detectives that did this to me, what I like to say is what I put in my lawsuit, they settled my case in 15 months. That's unheard of. In New York State, the minimum is about 4 years settling a lawsuit case. They settled my case in 15 months. You know why? That was their way. They know a lot of things wouldn't come out. If I settle now, a lot of things won't come out. So it was about protecting these officers who was retired now, because they knew I would have went after their pension, everything. I could have sued them, their pension, everything they would have lost. But at the end of the day, someone like myself coming up from the hood, the money that they offered me, it just was a start for me to get my life started. So it was a way for me to, you know what? I just want to start my life, because it would have took me 5 years probably to get my money. And guess what? April would be 5 years that I've been home. So I would just be getting compensated now. So I was able to pick up, you know what I'm saying, and just start my life, man. 15 months after.
Pick up those pieces and kind of just move forward.
And just move forward and let it go. Because at the end of the day, you know what I'm trying to say? Like I said, I've been blessed, man. You know, I've been blessed. So, you know, I'm not angry, you know. I mean, it is what it is. There's nothing I can do about it. I can't give the time back. So all I'm doing is living from day to day now. You know what I'm saying? And I'm living, man. And I'm just blessed to be out here and having a second chance at life, my brother.
I'm happy for you, and I'm thankful that things went the way they went, so that you can continue to, you know, live out the rest of your days, because you spent a lot of time there for something you didn't do, and a lot of your life passed you by.
Yes.
And I know you try not to think about it, but I'm pretty sure you can't help it.
Yeah.
Every so often, like, man.
No, I missed out. Yo, listen, man. You know, I went to jail. I went to prison at 27 years old. I came home at 51 years old. When I went to prison, my mother was 48. I come home, my mother's in her 70s, and she's very ill. She was very sick for a long time, and I got 15 months with my mother. I lost my mother a month before I got compensated. Wow. My sons, when I went to prison, was kids. I took my son to Florida for his 9th birthday. That's what took me to Florida. It was his birthday. My son testified to the fact that I didn't do the murder, that I was with him for his birthday. I missed out so much because they showed the importance of being there for your kids. My son was 9 years old when I went to prison. My 8th year in prison, my son was 17. I never forget, I got a visit from my mother. And he didn't come with her, and he usually come with her. And you know what that visit was about? Let me know that my son was in prison. And he was in prison for a murder that he did commit. Yes, my 9-year-old son that I took to Orlando, Florida for his birthday went to prison 8 years later at the age of 17 for a murder that he did commit. And you know how much time he did? He did 18 years. My son just came home 2 years ago. So I'm not the only one that suffered from this. I suffered 24 and a half years in prison. But my mother suffered for 24 and a half years in prison, missing out on her only child. Because I'm only child. My mother don't have no more kids. So can you imagine what she went through knowing that her only child was in prison for a crime that he didn't commit? Because it's not like I told my mother, like, yo, Mom, you know, they accused me of this murder. I didn't do this. No, my mother know I didn't do this. It ain't like, yo, Johnathan, I don't see how they accusing you of a murder that you didn't do. You know, no. She know I didn't do it.
Because she was with you in Florida.
Because she was with me. My son, no, I didn't do it. Because I was in Florida with him for his birthday. His birthday was August 16th. The murder happened on August 15th. So it was impossible. They had the videotape. I had videotape coverage where the jury looked at the videotape. And they see me in Florida riding on the go-karts, taking pictures with Mickey Mouse, Goofy, Donald Duck, all that. That shit didn't mean nothing to them. How the jury found me guilty, I have no idea. Because if I was a juror, with the evidence that I presented, there's no way I would have found that person guilty. I don't care if I'm the only one saying that he's not guilty. I would have stand on that, on my belief. I'm not going to go with the rest of the jurors and send an innocent man to jail. Because the only way you can find me guilty, if all 12 juries say that he's guilty. If you have one that say, no, it's doubt, I would have never went to prison. And what I would like to point out, that's how my trial was. When they were deliberating on with my jurors, one of the jurors was in the hallway crying. And they asked for a postponement. They came and they said, yo, listen, we need to talk to y'all. They brought me, my attorneys out, and they brought the district attorney out. And the judge told us that one of the jurors was crying. You know what I thought? That's the one juror that believed that I'm guilty. Me not knowing that was the one juror believed that I was innocent. The other 11 jurors believed that I was guilty. They told all of the jurors, they brought them out and told them, we heard it's a problem with the jurors, and we asked that y'all just go back and continue trying to deliberate. And what I would like to point out is 3 hours later, whoever that juror was, we found out who it was. The woman that it was that was crying, that believed in my innocence, she wound up going with the rest of the jurors, and she said that she felt I was guilty too. So when it was time to poll the jurors, all 12 jurors said guilty. There's no way that I should have been convicted of a murder with the evidence that they had. The evidence was there, and it took 24 and a half years to prove my innocence, man. So I missed out on a lot, man. You know, I missed out, and I can't give that time back. You know?
See you writing a book, too.
Yes, I have a book.
24/7.
That's the name of the book, 24/7. And, you know, that book is going to tell everything. You know, I had to wait off. The book should have been out 5 years. The book could be out. I'm thinking about, I'm thinking of dates, but now I'm truly, honestly thinking about just sitting here talking to you. My book could be done in about 3 weeks, but now I think I'm going to have a release date. I'm thinking now, honestly, I'm thinking that my book should come out the day that I came home because it's so close. April 8th, 5 years later. The name of the book is called 24/7, and it's not just because the 24 years and 7 months that I did. It's because how hard I worked. 24/7. I never gave up. Always knew that I would get out. So that 24/7 can mean a lot of things. So it's not just for the 24 years, 7 months that I did. But the name of the book is called 24/7, Wrongfully Convicted, Rightfully Released.
Sound like a movie.
Oh, yes. That's in the works. Not in the works yet, but I'm hoping to get that call. I just, I'm not going to mention no names, but I just had to sit down with some peoples in Miami, and they actually taken it to a big major film company today. I had to sit down with them, and they actually taken my script, they taken my story to a big major film company. And if they get on board, it really just going to come down to doing the paperwork. So that's something that I'm hoping for, because it's a story that needs to be told. It ain't even about the money. A lot of people are going to come out with this movie about the money. No, it ain't about the money. It's about the story, about the message, getting the story out there, letting it be known. Because what happened to me could happen to anybody.
Very true indeed.
Yes.
So, I mean, not that you... There's no amount of money that can compare to your freedom, obviously, because even with the amount of money that they gave you, that does not compensate for 24 years and 7 months.
Right.
But that money that you received was a fresh start. So let's talk about the fresh start. Let's talk about some endeavors that you have going on.
Oh, definitely.
Like the foundation, of course.
Okay, yes. I got the foundation. I have also a record label.
Okay.
Called Dream House Entertainment. I started that a couple years ago. And it's not an easy business. It's about getting the right talent, the right hit. I have some good talent, and I believe in it. And I believe that this is going to be our year. I have 4 artists.
Okay.
One of the artists is my partner on the label. She's the co-CEO with me. Her name is Candace, which is my cousin, how the label started. She was a young upcoming rapper when I was in prison. When I went to prison, she was about maybe 3 years old. And she was a young upcoming rapper. I heard a lot about her when I was in prison, 14, 15. They said, your cousin could rap, your cousin could rap. And when I came home, she had a label called Dream House Entertainment.
Okay.
but it was just, she had the LLC, she had started and everything, but there was really no money behind it. And it was her and her brother, which is my other cousin.
Okay.
And when I got compensated, I believed in what she was doing, and I put the money behind her label. And then since then, I signed my son on as an artist. His name is Vaughn P. I signed another young brother from out of Marcy Projects that I'm trying to help get out of Marcy. His name is Kai, the real young Kai. Then we also have my cousin Candace, and we have her brother. His name is Kenny Blanco. And I just recently signed an artist right here from out of Raleigh that I truly believe in. And I believe that she's going to be the next big female that's going to make it. Her name is Just Marie, right here from out of Raleigh. Brother named Pocket, her manager, his name is Pocket, who I knew. And he brought her to me. And he told me to listen to her project, and I listened to her project. And I believe that she has what it takes. So, you know, I have this record label called Dreamhouse Entertainment. I also have, like I said, you know about the book getting ready to come out. But I also have a trucking company. You can look it up. I have my LLC, Fleming Transports. I just started, you know, a trucking company. I just purchased my first 2 trucks. I have a 53-foot box tractor trailer, 50-foot truck. And I also have a 22-foot box truck. And I have a 53-foot tractor trailer. And, you know, we deliver freight, all different kind of freight, all over the United States, wherever it needs to go. You know, that there is up and running. You know, that's doing pretty good. And I also just started a limo service. I just purchased my first Sprinter. And it's Fleming Limo. So right now, I purchased my first Sprinter. And I have that located in Miami, where the business is doing good. It's being rented out on a regular. You know, we have artists. I have artists rented out. I have a lot of people in the corporate world, a lot of corporate people renting out. People that's in, you know, into sports. You know, a lot of athletes be renting it out because it's a luxury. It's one of them luxury Sprinters where they have the captain chairs. You know, it's a very, very luxury Sprinter. So I have that, and I have some other things that I'm looking into. You know. Basically, I have some other things that I'm looking into. But, you know, life is good right now. Life is good. And, like, you know, I have this book getting ready to come out. I have this movie I'm shopping around. But as of right now, you know, life is good for me. It's good, you know. So, basically, you know, but the main thing, one of the things that I love to do, what I love to do the most, what I like to put out there, because I do a lot of motivational speaking. You know, I love to go to the prisons. I love to go to the schools. I love to go to the churches. And I love sharing my story. So that's one of the things that I'm getting ready to get focused on, is to actually try to go on a tour to share my story. But that's one of the things that I love to do, especially sharing it to the youths. And I usually even, like, you know, one of the things I can say, since I've been out here, I actually, every year, like at a certain time, Brian Dawson, you know, that's on the radio on 97.5, he would get at me. And I go out with him. And I go to these schools. When he go visit these schools and stuff, I go to these schools with Brian and I share my story a lot of times. So, you know, that's one of the things that I really enjoy doing.
I think that it's real honorable that you go and just speak to people, and even with the foundation, because, you know, sometimes certain people look at it like, well, you know, I offended for myself. They got to fend for themselves. I feel like it's real noble that you're like, no, I'm going to put a foundation together so that what happened to me, maybe I could stop it from happening to somebody else.
Yes. You know, yes. You know, I've never been a selfish person. You know what I'm saying? I'm all for my peoples, you know. And I just want to do right by people. You know, I love to give back. You know, we just went to, we were just in Atlanta. They had a big thing with the court DJs and stuff. And we went to the shelters. And we gave back, and, you know, we went and gave out stuff for the schools, for the kids to start school and stuff. Just recently, you know, Brian Dawson, he hit me up and told me that he was doing a thing for the kids out here in Raleigh, North Carolina, giving back, you know, to help with Christmas and stuff. And me and all my artists, me and Dreamhouse Entertainment, me and my team, we went to Walmart and we went shopping, and we just went and brought a bunch of toys and stuff, bikes and toys and everything to give back for the kids and everything. So, you know, that means a lot to me. to be able to give back, to be in that position, because everybody is not as fortunate as I am. Like I said, I've been blessed. You know, I've been blessed, my brother.
And also, I commend you on keeping the faith and then pushing and still just prevailing. See what I'm saying? Because for you to be locked up for that amount of time, your average person would probably broke and just lost faith.
Yeah.
And I know it was hard. It had to be.
Oh, definitely. It was hard. It was hard. You know, it was very hard. You know, I mean, a lot of times, you know, I thought about giving up, but then at the end of the day, I said to myself, I couldn't do something like that to my mother, because I know it would destroy her, and I knew that my kids needed to be out there. So that's what really kept me going, knowing that my mother was out there and knowing that my kids was out there, that they needed me. Because I've seen a lot of people give up and didn't even have time like me, you know. And it was really very hard, you know, like during my incarceration, the 24 and a half years that I did in prison, I did about maybe 8 to 9 years in solitary confinement. And I've seen people that was in solitary confinement couldn't even deal with it and actually killed themselves, people that cut up and stuff like that. But it was just something I would never do, you know. I just was determined I was going to get out there with my family because I know they needed me. So it was definitely hard. But, you know, at the end of the day, I always seen that light at the tunnel. That light was always at the tunnel, and I just knew that I would reach it one day. And April 8th, 2014 was the day.
If you could tell the people one thing, like one message, what would you say?
One of the things I could say, I would think it would be because of my experience, because of everything that I've done. One of the things I would like to say, I guess, you know, the choices that you make today, it will affect your tomorrow one way or another. So you need to think about the choices that you make, because, you know, you could just make on an impulse, make a decision, and it could just change your life. Choices you make today will affect your tomorrow one way or another. So make some smart choices.
I really appreciate you for coming through, Mr. Fleming, and sharing your story with me, The Couch, and Who Got the Juice TV as a whole.
And I really appreciate you, you know, bringing me on here and me being able to share my story, because, you know, at the end of the day, I just hope this message just reached one person. If it just reach one person, I know that I've done my job. You know what I'm saying? But that's what I love to do, is share my story, let it be known what happened to me, how the justice system is. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, just remember, like I said, the choices you make today will affect your tomorrow one way or another. Make smart decisions. And thanks for having me, my brother.
No doubt, no doubt. We definitely appreciate you.
Juice, I got the juice. I got the juice.